Hey everyone, this is Demia Avery of the Demia Avery Show. So I'm going to try to sum up as much as I can in a little time as possible. So this is the first video I'm going to do is for the prosecution, their opening statement, and on the second video I'm going to do the defense. So hopefully I can get this all in a little bit shorter time. So I'm gonna go kind of fast. So hope you guys pay attention. All right. So, prosecutor Emily Johnson describing Diddy Combs' inner circle, telling the jury how those that are close to Diddy helped commit crime after crime. She says together the group worked to promote the defendant's power. They carefully cultivated and guarded his reputation. He called himself the king and expected to be treated like one. He expected his inner circle to cater to his every desire, including his sexual desire. And his inner circle made sure he got everything that he wanted. Johnson, that's the lawyer, said resources from his businesses were used to sexually exploit multiple women, including by forcing them to have sex with male escorts while he watched. Much of the prosecution's case will focus on two women, Cassie and another victim they call Jane, that will be used during the trial. The defendants used lies, drugs, threats, and violence to force and coerce first Cassie and then later Jane to have sex with him in front of male escorts. The defendant insisted that sex occur in a very specific, highly orchestrated way. These sexual performances lasted multiple days and they involved multiple escorts. The defendant called these encounters different things over the years, including freak offs, wild king nights, and hotel nights. Cassie met Combs in 2006 when she was 19, and then Cassie Ventura was 19-year-old. She was a 19-year-old model, aspiring singer, and had a hit song when she met Diddy in 2006. He was 17 years old, older than her when they met. Within a year of signing Cassie with his label, they were dating. They dated off and on until 2018. The defendant starting abusing Cassie early on. Initially, Cassie fought back. Um, in 2009, Diddy threw her to the floor in an SUV and stomped repeatedly on her face. To hide her injuries, Combs forced Cassie to stay in a hotel for the next week. She goes on to say that the defense will portray that Diddy's relationship with Cassie Ventura um, as complicated. She says that the defense will portray that Diddy's relationship was as being just complicated and mischaracterized by the prosecution. Johnson told the jurors that they will hear that they were both unfaithful, jealous, and at times angry. But only one of them had power. Only one of them had control, the lawyer says. And that was the defendant. And with that power and with that control, he made Cassie do his bidding in those dark hotel rooms. She goes on to say, Diddy introduced Cassie Ventura to these freak-offs early in their relationship. Half of every week, Cassie was in a dark hotel room, high and awake for days performing sex acts she did not want to do on male escorts. In another freak-off, Cassie still had an open wound on her face from the defendant's most recent assault. The lawyer goes on to say that Diddy beat Ventura to show who was in charge. She says he beat her when she didn't answer the phone. He beat her when she left the freak off without permission. He beat her when he thought she took too long from the bathroom. When Ventura tried to run away, Diddy always found her, often with the help of his so-called inner circle. She goes on to say, um, Diddy recorded the freak-offs and used them as blackmail against Cassie. He told her he could destroy her career by releasing the videos of performing Smex acts on dozens and dozens of male escorts. The lawyer goes on to say that Diddy he also sexually abused one of his employees. And as I was listening, guys, they kept calling this girl Mia, his ex-employee. She says Combs forced her to perform oral sex and snuck into her bed to penetrate her against her will. The people in Diddy Combs' inner circle worked with him to cover up his crimes, including by keeping Cassie in hiding for days and contacting witnesses. She mentioned the video from the LA hotel showing Combs assaulting Ventura. She says, "You'll hear just how far the defendant, his bodyguards, and his chiefs of staff went to get what they thought was the only copy of that video." She said, adding that they offered a brown paper bag with $100,000 in cash in an attempt to cover it up. She also said that the racketeering conspiracy charge against Diddy Combs covers his alleged plans carried out with his high level employees and bodyguards. She says together they agreed to commit different crimes: kidnapping, arson, distributing drugs to other people, exploiting employees for labor. Cassie Ventura and Jane will tell you how the defendant tried to control their lives, from their homes to their careers, how the defendant used his control over them, his lies, his drugs, his threats, and his violence to threaten and coerce them into having sex with male escorts. Um, Johnson added that the jury would hear from Combs' personal assistant who he sexually assaulted. Johnson goes on to tell the jurors they'll also hear from some of Diddy Combs' other employees, including an employee Combs allegedly forced into the SUV with a gun, as well as one of the chefs and other assistants. She acknowledges that some victims and witnesses have received financial settlements or still have active lawsuits against Combs. Johnson is also describing various records that will come up during the trial, including dozens and dozens of text messages about freak-offs, bills for hotel rooms, car services, and damages to hotel rooms. More texts will show Combs directed his former girlfriend, Cassie, to take specific drugs before freak-offs. There will also be video evidence. You will see videos of some freak-offs. Oh boy. The videos the defendant used to blackmail Cassie and to blackmail Jane. You will see them put on a performance high on ecstasy while they pretend to enjoy themselves because that's what defendant said he wanted, she adds. So, y'all, this is about to be a trip, but stay tuned for my next video. All right, y'all.